Someday. There we are. Good morning, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Mike Kelly, Real Estate Jerky Daily. I'm going to swap out my camera this week. I'm tired of looking jaundicedly.
Chuck Lynn, what happened to Will Mace?
Who's that?
Oh, Chuck was doing something online, and his I guess alter ego maybe is Will Mace, and he said, "I'm back. Will's gone."
Who's Will Mace?
I don't know.
Oh, he reached out to see if we can get a third person on during the show.
Yeah,
and I said no.
You said no?
No, I didn't say that. I said yes, we can, but it doesn't mean it's going to be you.
Well, we've had him on before.
I know he doesn't. Yeah, we can do a third person on the show. You just have to talk to us ahead of time.
Yep.
All right, do your numbers. I don't have. There's hardly anything.
Hardly anything. Look at 452 closed sales per day. Week ending March 21st. Wow. Is that up? That's down.
420 is the.
At 420 is the magic. No,
we're down 3%.
Dave in here.
I can tell you right now, it's down 3%.
Yeah, I know. I see that. 544 pending sales. That's down 12.9%. But compared to the week before, I guess, and down 8.8% on the new listings per day, 685. But at least it's in the 600s. And look at that. 0 days change. Median days on the market across the state of California is 22. That means they're listing their properties at the right price.
A third of all properties are getting reduced.
Yeah, that's because they're not listing their properties at the right price.
Right. But that's typical. That's been that way for a while now.
And we almost.
So for every one, for every two, you get one back on the market.
Yeah. And in this
that's still better than it was, because it was worse than that before. You'd have to sell three to get two.
Yeah. One.
It used to be 7.5 or 7.1, so it's gotten a little bit worse.
Yeah. So anyway, this altercation that's going on in Iran, is just kind of messing things up a little bit.
You think? Let's see. The 10-year sitting at 4.411. What do you think that's messing that up a little bit?
Yeah, that's messing that up a little bit. Where's the Dow? Jeez.
The Dow is down 271-ish, because who knows by the time you look at it.
It's down 370.
That was earlier.
Refresh.
This is live TV. So the 30-year sitting at, rates are actually better by 8 basis points versus yesterday. Figure that one out.
Yeah.
There might be a flight to safety there, but I don't really see it yet. Flight to safety. That's what they do. They buy bonds.
Yep.
It's starting to. Let's see. What did I have today? The only thing that was I already talked about how bad the bond market is and rates. Apartment lists. They were talking about the apartment lists again. Those rents are down 1.7% year over year. Which, what are you going to do? So people, if you can't buy, you're going to rent. That's just how it's going to work right now. I've had somebody reach out to me that's like, "Hey, you're doing really well with vets, blah blah blah." Okay, what do you make? $50,000 a year.
I do really well. In what state do you want to live in?
And I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like direct to the point.
Yeah.
Because if you got good credit, don't have the income, there's nothing I can do for you. I want to help you, but you have to make a certain amount of money in our area to buy any home.
Yeah.
Or even in Tuolumne County and Calaveras, it's no longer.
What is it now in Modesto? It's about 120.
Yeah. Well, if you're buying 400,000 to 450 is going to be about 100 to 110. Yes.
Okay.
And so it's just, and people are like, what? I don't know how you don't. And I'm not knocking. I don't know how people survive off of not making money like that.
Yeah. I talked about the RICO charges brought against Zillow, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act brought up against Zillow. And they're saying it's alleged that they're forcing referrals to their home loans, limiting consumers' choice.
Right. Well,
yeah.
I mean,
and they've been doing that for a very long time.
Housing Track does the same thing.
Yeah.
You know why builders get away with it?
Because they're paying the closing costs?
No, because they own the land. When you own the land, you can do whatever you want.
So Indians can do it.
Oh, I might say, well, I'm not talking about stolen land. I'm just talking about land.
I was talking about their reservations.
No, what I'm getting at is if you own, so you can do the same thing. If you own the house and you're selling it, you can make them go through an agent, loan officer you want. You can do that because you own the house.
Yeah.
When you are a listing agent or you are a listing service, you can't do that. That's illegal.
Yeah.
But they think it's, oh no, we're just doing normal stuff. It's a new hack.
Yeah. A new hack. A new hack.
If they say hack, just equates illegal.
But these are the kinds of things that happen when you're a market upsetter, or you're trying to be the leading edge in real estate, but you're not really governed by ethics.
Well, okay,
that's it.
Not by other people's ethics,
right?
They could have their own ethics.
They should just follow. I
guess people say they don't have ethics. They do. They just don't have our morals. They do. They just don't have your morals. There was one thing they were talking about. Rates are closer to 7 than they are 6 now. That is the problem.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what happens.
Down. That's what happens when you go from 3.99 to 4, almost 4.5 on the 10-year. Think about it.
I wonder Monday, Tuesday, what that will be.
Well, Tuesday's Jolts and Case-Shiller Home Price Index and FHFA House Price Index. Wednesday's ADP employment and retail sales. Thursday is correct jobless claims.
Yeah.
Friday is your favorite BLS, the Bureau of Land Statistics jobs report.
I love that report. That report gives me so much information.
Yeah, and then we just wait for it to be reduced.
Exactly. Or re-looked at. Well, we looked at it one time and it said this, and we looked at it on Wednesday in the afternoon upside down and it says this.
This is my only negative thing against Trump is he fired the person who was in charge of it, giving wrong numbers, and they're still giving wrong numbers. So how do we move forward from
there? Got to fire that person and find someone that's not dyslexic.
Yeah, I guess they late night and everybody made fun of the new HHS head. He was a plumber.
Mark Mulaney or whatever his name is. Not Mulaney.
Him and his wife quit college to take over the family business and just grew it. And,
150 employees.
Yeah, it's not
multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah, I think they sold it and made money.
Yeah.
And did other things. And so
Jimmy Kimmel's probably the dumbest person on the planet next to that one senator that has a very thick accent. No. The little I don't.
Well, talking about, since I brought up Feinstein, they sure kept her in
forever,
and wheeled her around in a wheelchair when she couldn't even talk. Yeah, she's right here. She's here at the meeting.
Yeah. And what am I voting on?
Just push it here. Let me help you.
I vote no. No, you're voting on this. Oh, then I vote yes.
Raise your hands.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, somebody else was raising it. It was like Weekend at Bernie's.
When you look into the Pelosi's and the Feinsteins, the whole thing with the high-speed rail and purchasing land with U.S. grants and then selling the land, and then the Feinsteins bought it with U.S. grants, and it's just a big old mess.
Newsom warns cities of lawsuits over California SB 79 law.
Yeah, that's the housing law where you have to have growth, basically. You need to meet the housing element.
6 to 9 stories near covered transit stops. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, LA ordinance caps many sites at 4 stories and 16 units. So what he is saying is they're going to have to allow them to build up to 6 and 9 stories in these areas.
Yeah, which meets the housing element that is in the state is mandating.
Right, but I don't know what you were talking about.
The same thing.
It didn't sound like it.
Well, you got a certain housing element you got to meet, each county, each city.
Right, but they're talking about
I know.
This one is exactly just talking about the height issue that each city has set up. And I don't understand how that 6 to 9 stories, because it's near the transit stops. So they were saying that certain areas doesn't allow that high by transit stops, but you should be able to build that high there. Because I was going to say downtown freaking Los Angeles, they got some tall buildings that are way more than 6 and 9 stories.
Yeah, exactly. 78.
But they said they are going to allow them to build them, but they're only going to have a no elevator. That's all walk up.
Because they're low income housing.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun moving in.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Don't cut that up.
You're going to hire a crane. Don't cut that up.
I'm telling that to the VA.
Yeah,
people.
I know you are.
So again, I'll go back to something I ran into this week, which is company bought a house at foreclosure, and they bought it as a nonprofit company, and they put it right on the market. Did not disclose in the MLS that it is going to have a deed restriction on it and has to be bought by affordable housing people and or somebody who's
Low
going to
income.
buy. Yeah, it is all low income, or somebody who's going to buy it and then rent to low income. That is what has to be there. You can't buy it as a second home, all that kind of stuff. You need to know what you're listing if you're listing these properties.
Right. And you need to understand it 100%.
Yes.
So if you don't know, call somebody.
Well, if they're a flipper and they bought it to sell, and they say we're a nonprofit and there's this form we need to have you sign, maybe look at the trust deed that was recorded with it that states here forward there will be this deed restriction on here that where did it go? Keep talking.
Well, the one thing is the flipper is going to be fine. He's going to he she they whatever
Right.
LLC.
So the assertion this land is restricted to sell or rent at affordable housing rates and only to lower income households as required under section 2924.0 of the Civil Code for a period of
30 years or longer.
Yeah. No, just 30. Yeah, 30 years or longer from the date. So it's not just 30 years, it's 30 years or longer. So someone's going to buy this and then get stuck with it. And then down the road, their people are going to try to sell it. And they're going to go, no, you can't do that. You have to, what? I have to sell to. Yeah. Why do you want to buy a property that has that type of restriction on it?
I wouldn't, but some people, maybe they're going against the grain and they think I'm getting it for so little, I can still sell it at market value to a low income.
Well, they did get it really low.
Yeah.
Like $120,000, but then they tried to sell it for 300 plus.
Yeah.
That's not low income.
I don't know. Who knows what's going through their head?
Yeah, I was trying to find out what that, that ratio is for income, the percentage wise.
Oh, that shows your low income.
Yeah, exactly.
Just look at my returns. What is it?
I don't know.
You don't know? Neither does
take me too long. I'll get it for Monday.
Neither does Claude.
I'm not in there. I was trying to use the G one.
And you say you're using Claude now and you're loving it.
For certain things, yes.
Okay.
For the show, it's still ChatGPT all day long for certain things. But if I want to write a letter about like here's a pre-approval and break it up, or here is multiple loan estimates, combine them and put them together. It makes a beautiful chart, makes a beautiful everything.
Cool.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Nobody's here.
Have a great weekend. We're on the radio tomorrow and Sunday.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
All right. Make it a great day. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Bye, kids.
Bye. I guess I got an end stream.